It's time for another edition here of the Neishloss podcast. I am your host, Mike Asti, and this our third edition. It's kind of amazing. This is the third edition of the series of podcasts, and for this one, we are going to focus now on Medico. We're going to talk about Medico, and when you talk about Medico, you have to be talking to Kelly Rayburn. She is the sales director with Medico. She travels the country talking about Medico, and we actually had her in the office here in Pittsburgh at the Neishloss headquarters just a few weeks ago, where she kind of talked to our staff and talked to us about what's going on with Medico. So, Kelly, thanks for joining me today. I know you're really busy, so thanks for giving us some of your time to be able to record this program. And I got to tell you, I am enjoying a beautiful day here in Pittsburgh. I'm actually recording this outside. I wouldn't have thought that February and doing things like this outside would work, but that's where we are. So it's a beautiful day in our neighborhood. But I know you're busy, so thanks for coming on.
Hey, it's no problem. It's a pleasure always to be with the Neishloss family. So I really do appreciate the invitation, and I'm looking forward to, working with you guys more and working with your agents. I think this is really exciting having a podcast out there.
Yeah.
I think you're probably one in very few that do this type of marketing, and I think it's great.
Yeah, we've got good positive reviews so far. I mean, we were trying to get it out there to help agents as well as help promote things with the carriers and kind of make it all hand in hand to make everybody serving the clients even better, which is kind of the goal for all of us, no matter what facet of the business you're involved in. Kelly, to get this underway, though, in addition to the Medicare supplement market, Medico offers a lot in terms of ancillary products. And we'll get to the hospital indemnity and things like that here in a bit, but they offer a lot in terms of ancillary products for the agents to sell. So it's a wide variety of options for agents with Medico. In terms of the ancillary products, what do you think the agent should really be getting after? Which one of those products should they really make sure they have in their portfolio? And what should they be talking to clients about in terms of those ancillary products?
So, of course, with the Medicare supplements, we have just to kind of touch on that briefly, and then I'll get to the ancillary products. The Medicare
Sure.
supplement market is really good for us in the states that we are approved. We have some focal states in 2020 based on the changes in MACRA. So, agents can obviously go out to CSG or call any of the marketers at Neishloss to find out if their resident or non resident states is a focal state for our Medicare supplement, which again is awesome. But whenever we talk about ancillary products, our hospital indemnity is the cream of the crop when it comes to our ancillary product portfolio, which I know that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit.
Yeah.
We do have two other products as well. We have our standalone cancer plan. It's called First Diagnosis Cancer. That pays the policyholder if they are diagnosed with cancer. It pays it in full directly to the policyholder, and the policy is depleted. There's no restoration on the policy. It's pretty much a no frills. But when somebody is diagnosed with cancer, there's a lot going on, not only based on cancer
Yeah.
diagnosis, but you got house payments and car payments and travel to oncology, and maybe there's kids that need to be babysat while there's treatments going on, so on and so forth. So there's a lot going on, and I unfortunately got to see that firsthand here last November, which was very sad. So the first diagnosis of cancer is definitely one really nice ancillary product that we offer. The second in our product portfolio is actually our dental, vision, and hearing. And it's broken out into three different categories. The dental only, which is literally just that, Mike. It's dental only. It's for someone that wants to keep their mouth clean, goes to the dentist 2 times a year to get their cleanings and their nasty fluoride, may have a cavity here and there, might have a need for major services down the road, but likely not someone that has any health issues in their mouth. We have
Yeah.
two dental, vision, and hearing products that fall in the 1,000 annual benefit and the $1,500 annual benefit that are graduated. So it pays the client more as the longer the client holds the product. So it starts out as a 60/40, where we, the carrier, take on 60% of the risk. In that third year, it goes to an 80/20 and it stays there. So it's really a nice persistency product on the dental, vision, and hearing. The vision part of that combination product covers $200 a year, $200 every 2 years, also with a graduated benefit. And then we have the hearing, which covers $500 a year, also a graduated benefit. And both of those are for exams and hardware. So that's nice. The third part of our dental vision and hearing is called the Dental Plus, and that's really an all chips in. It's a $2,500 maximum annual benefit, and it's the benefit that covers implants. And it too is a nice plan, but it takes all of the graduation, if you will, out of the product. It starts at an 80/20, 50% on the major services and keeps with the same $200 and $500 for the vision and the hearing. But really, like I said, our cream of the crop is our hospital indemnity, which you've seen it,
Mhm.
seen us compare it to other carriers. And I'm not saying that there's not a place for every carrier in the market, because when the tide
Right.
rise, all the boats rise. But our product, no one can hold a candle to it. So
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. And you kind of hit every possible end in terms of those ancillary products. It almost seems like you're offering anything that anybody could want in terms of the dental. We have a lot of clients that there are DVH plans, but they just want to work with a dental plan just by itself because not everybody wants the whole thing grouped together. Some
Mhm.
carriers do group everything together and kind of leave it at that. So you have the option of even the standalone. And then the cancer story. I know you touched on your personal connection, but I had my father pass away from cancer. I had my grandma beat cancer twice. I've had an uncle pass away from cancer. My girlfriend's aunt is dealing with cancer right now. So everybody has a cancer story, even if you've not been inflicted yourself. Everybody in some way has a family member connected to the disease and or knows somebody that has, if even if you're so lucky to not be involved in your family. So that's something that nobody wants to plan for, nobody wants to think's going to happen, but seemingly everybody does seem to unfortunately have a cancer story. As we go down the line here, you hit on it. You talked to us about it a few weeks ago. It's kind of the bread and butter in a way of kind of what Medico's doing, and that is the hospital indemnity plan. That is kind of the hospital indemnity products right now with Medico, and they sometimes do get overlooked in the sales process. So you mentioned others are doing kind of the same thing, but what and it's the cream of the crop. It really is from what I've heard. But what does make it stand out so much? What is Medico doing that makes this hospital indemnity product just be so much popping to the people out there? What makes it so flashy? Why is it so successful?
Well, it's a super rich base plan, Mike, to be quite honest with you. Our base plan on the hospital indemnity covers inpatient care. Days and dollars are applicable based on premium and need of the client in the certain area and age group. It covers 100% of observation, which is the biggest selling point for our hospital indemnity. When you have a client that is put into observation and our carrier partners out in the market don't cover 100% observation typically until a client has been in the hospital for 24 hours or longer coded under observation, we're going to pick it up the moment they're coded under observation. So no minimum or maximum hours required, and we are going to pick it up for 6 calendar days per year. Typically, people don't get coded under observation that long. However, my next door neighbor, she was coded for 3 days based on a blood clot. Um,
Mhm.
Most people are coded under observation as non-emergency but need medical assistance in a hospital. So hospitals, just between you, me, and the fence post, and everybody listening to the podcast, right? Hospitals are
Yeah.
great on how many people they intake and then discharge. That's how they're graded. That's how they're funded. So if they can code people under observation, which since the inception of 2017, they have to tell clients that they're coded, whether it's going to be inpatient or observation. But if they're coded under observation, they don't go against their hospital grade card. They don't go against their funding grade card. So the observation is huge for hospitals, and it's really a big deal whenever clients come out of the observation, because if you're a Medicare Advantage enrollee, you know that it doesn't cover observation
Yeah.
at the time. So that observation unit is what is our big selling point. Three other bubbles that we have on our base plan. So we've covered the inpatient, which is customizable. We've covered the observation, which is 100%. We also include the emergency room benefit. We include a mental health benefit, and we also include a travel and lodging benefit, also something that's completely different than our competitors. That travel and lodging states that if someone has to travel more than 50 miles from their resident to receive care in a hospital, whether that's going to be a specialized type hospital or not, because I know in your area there's a lot of people that live 50 miles from a really good hospital they might need to receive care at.
Hmm.
We will pay $100 a day for them based on expenses. So it's a non-ambulance type travel. Think about, you go back to the cancer conversation. I'm sure that your dad was traveling to and from an oncology hospital that was a longer distance than just the local hospital that anybody else would go to because they may have broken their arm. So think
Right.
specialty hospitals, that travel and lodging is huge. Plus, of course, we cover 7 different riders, and those riders are what I always call, do you want fries with that? That includes the ambulance rider, outpatient therapy and chiropractic, outpatient surgery, skilled nursing, which is huge because most hospitals, they have to have an intake of a patient that might be on Medicare and a doctor's recommendation to be able to put into skilled nursing or assisted living, whatever the case may be. So we offer that skilled nursing rider. That's a huge expense for people on Medicare Advantage, really for people, period. That's a huge expense. We offer a lump sum cancer rider that only has a 2-year look back. So if the policyholder has had a cancer scare in the past and they're cancer free for 2 years, they can get covered under a lump sum cancer rider. We have the outpatient surgery rider. It has 4 different dollar amounts for 2 calendar days per year, which can include cataracts, colonoscopies, skin cancer removal, things like that. And then we have urgent care. We have an urgent care rider. So those that might need medical attention that doesn't require a hospital stay or is kind of non-emergency related. I get sinus infections every single spring. I am not going to my hospital or my doctor's office for it. I'm going to the urgent care. They just kind of squeegee out.
Right. Yeah, urgent cares are beautiful things. Not everybody wants
Oh,
to go to the doctor all the time.
absolutely right. Yeah, they squeegee out my nose. They give me my prescription. They send me on my way. I sent my son to the urgent care because he got hit last year. He was mowing the yard and a rock came up and hit his shin. And
Wow.
uh,
That's a gruesome hill you got going on over
it-
there then.
yeah, it was a big one. And I wanted to make sure he didn't have a bone splinter or something. And so
Right.
we took him to the urgent care instead of to the hospital. The last rider that we have is a lump sum confinement. It's nice. It's what I call the allowance rider. If someone's confined, once their inpatient pays out, the rider will pay out also. It's just a little extra money based on confinement. Because the thing about it is, Mike, it's not about if people are going to the hospital. It's about when
Hmm.
and how many times. You and I were still in the, I'm using air quotes here, young and healthy stage, but seniors
Hmm.
are going to the hospital more and more the older that they get. That's where they go. So a 65-year-old like my dad when he was 65 is super healthy. He's 72 now and things are starting to break down a little bit differently. Hospital stays are going to come around the corner or observation. He likes to go have his uh, physical therapy on his back because he was an old wrestling coach. So there's things that the hospital indemnity is used for. And just to add another fuel to the flame here, when you ask me about things that are different about it, we give a lifetime restoration on our base benefit, which means if that client stays out of the hospital 60 days or longer after hospital stay, we're going to restore the entire benefit, days and dollars. That's big. So that pays the client. As I said, it's not a matter of if, it's when and how many times. It's going to pay them for the how many times down the road for years to come. So it's a big product in the market, and I encourage your agents, you all, to really talk to everybody about it because if you the agent aren't talking to your client, they go to the hospital and they find out later that this type of product is available for them to buy. They're going to be really mad at you, Mr. Agent, really mad because they've come across off their savings that they may not have been prepared to use for that. So
And
it's
it's a big savings. I mean, it's not like $100 here. I mean, in terms of you mentioned the travel to and from, and we are in Pittsburgh, located in a region that has a close proximity to West Virginia, even a close proximity to Ohio, but we kind of have the city with the major hospitals, at least the ones that are known. So people from those neighboring states, or even from the other parts of our same Pittsburgh, greater Pittsburgh area that are maybe an hour or so away from actually getting to those hospitals and to the city, are going to have to travel to get to that care, and that's going to be gas, that's a lot of the time going to be lodging, all of that. So having all of those worries, that's not going to kill you financially as much as maybe it would with other plans when you are inflicted with a disease, is a big deal that you've been talking about through this podcast. But also just the fact that, yeah, we're unfortunately, as we get older, if we're all lucky enough to keep on getting older and you want to have birthdays, because the only option is to not, and that's a bad thing, you're going
Right.
to have probably a more likelihood of going to the hospital. It's unfortunately, some people are, you're just going to you're going to be going to the hospital more and more as you get older. So
Right.
it's inevitable. And you want to make sure that it's as little bit of a hit to you and make it as easy as possible. Now, in terms of the ancillary products, how would you? Because a lot of agents sometimes when they're dealing with ancillary products, especially even hospital indemnities, because I'll even admit that learning the market, I wasn't as familiar with them and the overall approach prior to you talking to us a few weeks ago. So how would an agent? How would you be able to recommend to an agent to kind of lay in these ancillary products while they're talking Medico to a client, and they're trying to really beat the drum on these ancillary products, even hospital indemnity or anything else? How would you get those involved to your clients, and how do you kind of pitch those when you run sales meetings about what's going on here?
There's a couple different ways that people can really approach it. One, obviously, is during AEP, whenever we're sitting down with Med Advantage enrollees, their wallet's open, even if they're not coming off with any premium because it's zero premium. And that's typically the reason why people are buying a Medicare Advantage is because it's premium, it's price, right? But their exposure
Sure,
is humongous.
sure.
So they may be doing $0 premium, but the exposure is 6,700. And it's important for the agent to say, how are you going to pay for this exposure? Where's your money to pay for this exposure? Is it in a savings account? What is that savings account actually earmarked for? Rainy days or a hospital stay? If they say that they're going to get it from their retirement account, ask them, how much money are you going to have to pull out of your retirement account and pay taxes on, by the way, to be able to cover a $6,700 out of pocket? There's a lot of different approaches during that time at that AEP sale. However, agents that have a book of business already, and I'm sure that probably 99% of the people listening to this podcast already have a Med Advantage book of business. It is time for you to go back and do a review. It is time for you to go back and talk to your clients about their exposure. It's time for you to go back and talk to them about claims that they may have filed because of a hospital stay that wasn't covered in the past. So, one word, well, I should say phrase that I like to use is remember when I told you. So, Mike, if I said to you, because I was in your office a couple weeks ago, if I
Hmm.
said, I remember when I told you, blah, 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 are you actually going to admit that you don't remember that? That's not likely. I have teenagers,
Yeah.
they would never admit they don't remember, and
No, I'm gonna figure
seniors
something
don't.
out to say even if I don't remember it.
Right, exactly, that's exactly right, and seniors, Medicare Advantage enrollees aren't going to say to the agent, "No, I don't remember you telling me about my exposure, let's talk about that." They're not gonna admit it, they're gonna go, "Oh, yeah, well, we need to talk about that, Mr. Client, because you're exposed, and that means your financial stability is in question if you go to the hospital." And remember, it's not if, it's when and how many times. So, it's you need to approach it every opportunity. And for the agents that are not going back and revisiting their book of business at least every 6 months, you go to the dentist every 6 months. As soon as you walk in to pay your bill at the dentist, they sign you up for the next 6 months. If they can do it, you can do it. It's simply a habit. Go back to them every 6 months and have a conversation about the exposure. Reinitiate the conversation about ancillary products. Um, excuse me. MedSup is a great opportunity whenever people's MedSup comes up because they tend to think that they can't do anything with it until AEP. That's a great opportunity to cross sell dental, vision, and hearing and cancer. Always, always bring it up. Anytime you're talking to somebody that you are getting ready to close or during a review. And again, if you're not putting review appointments on your calendar, you're doing you and your clients a disservice, because there's another agent that's going to get to them and they could end up taking that client for you. It's all about persistency. And the other part about persistency is the more products that they have with you, the more sticky that client is to you as a client. So, one product in 5 years gives you about a 30% persistency. Two products gets in a 5-year span gets you over 50% persistency, and 3 products or over pushes that over the 90% persistency in 5 years. So, review and sell up. Review and sell up. That's all you need to do.
And it's really about
That's
serving
why.
your clients too, because if you're yeah, if you're scared of talking about something, or you just want to stick with the traditional plans and you don't want to include the ancillaries, and you're not really fully diversifying your portfolio, you're not truly serving the client. You just really aren't. So
Right.
that's a big deal too. Now, unfortunately, there always are going to be objections. There's always going to be either, they want agents always want to serve their clients, but there's going to be objections either from the agent standpoint or even objections from the client standpoint. There just always are going to be people who are weary of different things, and who feel like, oh, I'll never need it. How do you get over, like, if you're talking to an agent, or even if giving advice for an agent to talk to a client, how do you get over those objections? How would they overcome those objections? Because it may take some time having to provide that education. It may take some time having to continuously pitch things that maybe a client isn't as aware of as they are with, maybe traditional plans, or just, oh, I got Medicare, I'm covered, I'm good, I don't want to talk anymore. So how would they get over those negatives of having to repitch, or kind of maybe having to do a little bit more work to get this out there, even though it definitely is serving the client?
You're always going to have the clients that are going to dig their heels in the sand, right? You're always going to have them. However, not typically. Not typically do you find that in many occasions. They're usually open to listening because they realize that they're exposed. Um, Insurance is mitigating risk. Any insurance is mitigating risk. We have to cover our cars and we have to
Right.
cover our homes. Why are we not covering our health and our finances, right? That's the thing. One of the biggest objections that I hear agents making is, I don't have enough time. And I think to be honest with you, I think that's BS. I think you don't want to take the time, which leaves your clients open and exposed. I do. I believe that agents that say they don't have to take the time is because they sold whatever it was that they came in to do. They got their signature and they're walking out the door. But when it comes to people that are the clients giving objections, I'm a big fan of statistics. I'm a huge fan of statistics. I don't know about you, but 43% of people that have had a hospital stay in the last 2
No, I
years
like it
finds.
too. It proves kind of what everyone's
Yeah,
saying.
it's statistics are what it is. 43% of people that have been in a hospital 2 years in the past have had some financial difficulty paying it back. Whether that's going to be 7% filing bankruptcy, 20 some percent taking on credit card debt, 44% having to come up with a payment plan. There's all sorts of statistics that are out there. Cancer diagnosis right now, on American average, is 1 in 2 men before they die will contact an internal cancer or malignant melanoma. 1 in 2. That's crazy. And then 1 in 3 women. 1 in 3 women, internal malignant melanoma or an internal cancer of some sort in America. Now, I found out for those people that are in Colorado, first of all, your state is beautiful. I don't get me wrong, but that's 1 in 2 men and 1 in 2 women. So your statistic is actually even higher in the state of Colorado. So I really think the objection from the client standpoint is, don't tolerate it. To be honest with you, if you want to go in and make sure you're doing the right thing for your client, don't tolerate the objection. You talk until they listen to you. And the agents, if you
I think it's
are
also true that well clients and or agents are always
yeah,
going to
if
say
you're
that they're
walking
too
away
busy. And
and if they're walking away from the table, saying that I just didn't have enough time, if they didn't truly the agent truly didn't have enough time, they better have a follow-up before they leave that house. Have a follow-up conversation already planned before you leave that appointment. So those would be my things. Don't give up and don't leave the house.
right, and you mentioned it too, that yes, there's going to be the agent that's going to say they're too busy and they're selling enough of everything else. They don't need to hone in on ancillary products. And there's even going to be the client that's going to say, hey, I don't need that. I don't want to worry about that right now. I'm too busy to even hear more of the conversation. But either way you slice it, you never should be too busy to take care of yourself the best you can. And for the agent, if you honestly are too busy and you can't make more time, you need to make time. Basically, if you really want to be somebody who's serving your client the best you can and serving the market of clients the best you can in your area, then you
Mhm.
have to make time. And we're all busy. We made time to do this podcast to help agents out there. So you almost got to make time in order to truly be the best that you can be. And unfortunately, this is a business where you being the best that you can be and you being the best at your craft, it's a life or death situation, really. I mean, it's helping the client be covered the best that they can be. So if you're dealing with a client and you have a client in your books and you're not telling them about certain things or you're not helping them the best you can just because you're too busy, you're greatly impacting that client in their
Yes.
life just because of your schedule. So that doesn't really, that's not really fair to them. And they rely on agents to get this knowledge. Not everybody is going to be born with this knowledge. Even people that are in the market aren't going to be aware until they actually have somebody explain it or they actually research things. Now, Kelly, you were in our office a few weeks ago. You kind of know how we operate. We definitely are an FMO that we touched on a lot of this in this podcast and others, but it's about serving the client. It's about serving the agent who then can serve the client. That's kind of what we really hone in on, focus on. And it's a customer service business for us. We really make sure that the agent, any of your agents working on with Medico, that they have somebody to talk to whenever. We always have people answering the phones. We always have people answering emails. They're always willing to talk. We serve an agent base all across the country. We always are making sure we're hands on in terms of helping to serve the agent and explain what you're talking about. Do any type of education or marketing strategies to the agents to make it even easier for them to serve the client, which again is the main focus. We offer in-house marketing strategies. We offer a graphic design team that really gets to you personally and will actually talk with you and learn who you are as a person and how you want your business strategized so it's unique to you. We talk about time with agents. Well, if you if you are able to squeak in time, you say you don't have time, but then you squeak in time to explain ancillary products and hospital indemnity products and things like that to really serve your client, you then maybe don't want to add on the added time of worrying about social media and worrying about having to post to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and worrying about your digital footprint. Well, we'll take care of that for you because that's really, really important. And you never know how many leads you're missing by not having a strong digital footprint. That's part of the point of this podcast, is having that increased digital footprint. So we can put you in connection with our program and our guy, Ken French, who will help know who you are and either strengthen your social platforms and your social accounts and any of those, that is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc., or create them even for you from the ground floor and post on them and edit them, and you still would have access, of course, but help you do that and take away that time for you. So we're doing everything we can to help make things easier on you, the agent, or Mr. Agent, as Kelly likes to say, make it easier on you to better serve your client. Kelly is doing everything she can to provide that education and also get these products to you and make them as great as they are, so that they almost sell themselves when you just bring them up. So the ball now is in the agent's court, I think, to go on and go onward and upward and really continue to serve the clients. Kelly, thanks for joining me. I know you're busy as well. Thanks for giving me this time here to to explain what's going on with Medico and to get this out for education to not only the agents but anybody else, maybe even a client, and somebody in the Medicare age is listening and they're going to call their agent and say, "Hey, why didn't you bring this up to me? What's going on with this?" So
Mhm.
we definitely appreciate you coming on the show here, and just any final words you have, any words of wisdom to agents, clients,
You
anybody in
know,
the Medicare field that you
thank
want to
you.
just get out there here on the
Yeah,
podcast.
I do actually, and I thank you, Mike, too. I thank you very much
Okay.
for, asking me to do this because I think the more we push message out, the better everyone is, right? And everybody uses their
Right.
own source of medium, and I appreciate the fact that you have gone out and taken this progressive step. I do have, something to say to everyone. So, something that you don't know about me is I actually am a licensed agent. I have been since I was 22 years old, and I just had a birthday, so it's been 25 years that I have been an agent.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. And the thing about insurance agents, regardless of what genre they sell, what genre of insurance they sell, we got into this business for two reasons. We got into this business because one, we care about people. We care what happens to them. We care about making sure that we're mitigating their risk and their exposure to things that could happen, right? That's what insurance is. We got into this business to care. The other reason why we get into this business is because we want to make money. Okay? I feed my family, right? I've fed my family for a long time being an agent. So we get into it for the two reasons: to care about people and to make money. And that's what we are trying to do. And that's what you, Neishloss, is trying to do with your agent base. And I 100,000% appreciate it. And I know other carriers in the market do too. So that's my final thought.
Yeah, well, happy belated birthday as well. And I'm also a relatively newly licensed agent as well. So I'm also licensed. Don't have the 25-year tenure, but I wouldn't have guessed it. You don't look a day over 25 yourself. So I wouldn't I wouldn't have thought you'd be in the business that long. But happy birthday, and again appreciate you coming on the show. And I think we again we hit on everything we can, and the ball now is in the court of the agent to take this and run with it. But I think you guys at Medico especially have provided a lot for them to take and run with. That once they're bringing these plans up, especially the ancillary product, the hospital indemnity products, especially when you go out to everything that it can cover for you financially. That's really the key that I keep focusing on whenever I talk to an agent about it. I think it's all going to sell itself. But thanks again, Kelly. I really appreciate it.